Hi, I'm Dr. Duc Vuong, world famous bariatric surgeon, author of 13 books. And I'm going to talk about why these COVID numbers are going to get worse. And these are some reasons probably you guys have heard about, but I'm going to explain it in a way that makes Uncle Billy understand, Aunt Sally, everybody understands. And then what happens is I compile things on top of each other. And that way you, at the end of all of this, you will really understand why these numbers are going to be bad. And you will be happy to say, hey, who likes my shirt? Professor, fuckity fuck. That's what I'm talking about. I designed that shirt. Yeah, it's fun. Go to Vistaprint, just design a shirt. It's cool. All right, let's talk about why these numbers are going to be worse, okay? So number one. All right, hold on. Number one. Oh, as always, I edit these down. And put them on my YouTube channel, okay? The number one reason why the coronavirus numbers are going to get worse before they get better is the Christmas travel numbers. Can I have an amen? Amen. Christmas travel numbers. All right. Who knows the estimated number of people who flew for Thanksgiving, which I did a previous video on this about Thanksgiving numbers. All right. So for Thanksgiving, I'll do 1A, 1B. All right. So 1A, Thanksgiving travel numbers is about 4 to 5 million people flew for Thanksgiving. 4 to 5 million each way, one way. So 10 million total, 8 to 10 million total flew for Thanksgiving. Who knows the estimated number for Christmas travels? I'll just tell you. All right, Christmas flights are estimated to be, this number is, Thanksgiving was 4 to 5 million. Christmas, on the other hand, AAA estimates that Christmas will be 84.5 million flights for Christmas. If this current surge, what we're seeing right now in America, I don't mean to ignore my European colleagues, my Australian watchers, my Canadian. I mean, they're watching with popcorn in their hands because they can't believe the shit show they're seeing. Am I right? But so I don't mean to ignore them, but America is the real drama, okay? And we are seeing this crazy surge right now. We have 317,000 deaths. We average 210,000 cases a day. We have 114,000 Americans in hospitals right now. We're running out of hospital beds. And what we are seeing right now, 210,000 cases a day, is from the Thanksgiving surge, which had 4 to 5 million travelers. Now we've got, for Christmas, 84.5 million travelers. 84, the number is mind-boggling. I don't know why people think that they can play it safe, they can outsmart the virus, they're going to really double glove, they're going to use their hand lotion, they're going to double mask. Dude, it is just out there in community. Your chances of increasing it are ridiculous. But planes are safe, Dr. Vuong. Studies have shown that planes don't really transmit coronavirus. Until you hear the news that some dude died on the plane with corona-like symptoms. This is just water. It's not vodka. Just kidding, it's vodka. Just kidding, it's really water. All right, so reality is it's just everywhere. Now, the air filtration system in the airport, in the planes might be fine, but it's all the people you come in contact with as you're getting to your destination. The taxi drivers, the Uber, Lyft drivers, even if you're getting dropped off, the TSA baggage handlers, check-in. I mean, you just can't socially distance with 84.5 million travelers. Am I right? Now, having said that, that also includes New Year's Eve. So it's the whole week, 84.5 million travelers times 2, do the math, 169 169 million flights. Dude, we're fucked. Let's just be honest. Let's just say what it is. We're screwed. Okay. The Christmas flights are 84.5 million. Now, what you're going to see is now airline students are going to get sick. Baggage handlers will get sick. Ticket agents will get sick. Because you got to remember, here's the problem. That's a number. Okay. Now, what happens is after the flight, what happens? Here is the problem. Okay. After the flight, here is the problems. Okay. It's not so much the flight. It's not the airport. It's this. It's the gatherings, indoor, enclosed spaces with people you miss. You're going to hug. You're going to kiss. You know, like my 14-year-old daughter lives with her mom and new stepfather. And I haven't seen her nearly as much as I'd like. And, you know, I respect her mom's wishes, even though I test myself. No big deal. You know, her new husband is high risk. I'm not going to, you know, he's higher risk. She has an elderly mom and she wants to play it as safe as possible. And technically, by following the rules, we are separate households, even though she's my 14-year-old daughter. I'm just not going to see her on Christmas Day. You know, that's just the way this has to work. Right. I'm staying my ass in Houston. I don't want to travel. I don't want to go anywhere. It's just too dangerous. Even driving cars. If you drive cars, now you got to stop at gas stations. You better be wearing your gloves. You're pumping gas. You better wear gloves when you go indoors. You better be wearing a face mask plus a face shield. But Dr. Vuong, I'll look silly. Well, you'll look silly, but you'll be alive. You won't have, 14 days of fevers and chills. I mean, you know the joke. You know the joke about men. Come on, men. Where are my men in the house? Where are my men? One day of the flu and you feel like, oh my God, I'm dying. Our women, 48 hours of labor, go back to work the next day. Us men, we get the flu one day. Oh! So you have to assume it's out there. And the mistake that people make is this. They think that because their family, they've been safe, they don't have the virus, they'd be sick. No, they do not be. No, you don't know that. Even with testing now, it is so common everywhere that even with testing, you can't trust it. Now, for those of you who remember when you were watching me at Thanksgiving, I said, hey, if you isolate, if you quarantine and you test, then gather for Thanksgiving, but you got to at least test before and after. That's what I said during Thanksgiving. Now I'm saying don't even gather. Now I'm saying don't even travel, don't even go. It's just out there. It's just not good. So the nasal test, the one they shovel up your nose, that's 70% accurate. Now you're thinking it's 100% accurate, ain't you? But it's not true. It's only 70% accurate, the nasal PCR. It's more sensitive. That's why they use it. It picks up on smaller, like earlier, lower levels of virus, but you got problems. You got to send it to a lab, or if it's on site, they have to run it through a machine. That's why it's problematic. And now you're running through the labs. Let me kind of, not really like a real reason why the number is going to be worse. They're going to kind of be, this is kind of fake. I don't want y'all to be misled. All right. Because some people will take this and like misconstrue what I'm saying. After this, labs will be overrun like they were in June. I haven't talked about this much, so I'll talk about it real quick. And if you like this, please hit the share button because I'm getting a little bit technical right now. So what happens is when labs get overrun, they do something called pooling when they're testing specimens. Have you heard these rumors that like, oh, they're inflating numbers? They'll say, my friend went and had a test, like he had a test scheduled, but he canceled and never had the test taken. And then a week later or 3 days later, he got a letter that said he was positive. Have you heard these rumors? Let me tell you how this happens, because they actually investigated this, and they found that one lab company, major national lab company, did this. So it's true, but trust me, we're not testing nearly enough, right? These numbers are lower than they should be. There's actually more coronavirus out there than what the numbers are. Even with this lab error is so minuscule, all right? So here's the lab error. What they do is they do something called pooling. Now, if you're running out of reagents, you're running out of tests, you're running out of stuff, and I had to do this in undergrad. But what you do is you take I'll make up a number, 10 tests, and you run all 10 tests at one time, saving reagents and saving time because these labs are under pressure. If all of those tests are negative, because most of them are going to be negative, even in hot spots where it's 25% positivity rate, that means 75% is negative. So even in hot spots with 25% positivity, 75% is negative. So these labs will start pooling. Now, when they pool, let's say they do 10 in a batch. If it's negative, those 10 are all good. The next 10, negative, all good. The next 10 comes up positive. What you need to do is then go back and test every single one of those 10 to find out which one or two made that specimen positive. Because, 25% positivity rate, there should be 2 or 3 in there that turn out to be positive. So what happened in June when we were panicking and this lab was overrun, they didn't go back and test. So what happened was you started hearing these rumors about people getting letters or notifications that they were positive, even though they never took the test. So this leads to this kind of conspiracy thing, but it's pretty stinking rare. The reality is we don't test enough. So what's going to happen is we're going to get overrun again. We already are. They are trying very hard to not do this, but you're starting to see examples again where you're starting to see this, right? Where you're having people who test positive even though they haven't tested or they didn't go for the test, or they go and the PCR is positive, but then they have a subsequent test that's negative. So now they're very confused. They have an antibody test that doesn't show antibodies. They have antigen tests, which are negative, and they don't know, am I positive? Am I contagious? So there's just going to be confusion. That's only going to add to the problem. The labs will be overrun. If anything, this needs to be a reason why we need to stay home. These numbers are going to get worse. Okay, I'm going to tell you, our US government has not done a great job of being forthright. Let's just call the term forthright with what's really happening. So some other people in the bariatric community call it sugarcoating. Dr. Vuong never sugarcoats. They're just not laying it out the way it really needs to be laid out. Okay, we are going to fly past 300,000 cases a day. Back in the summer, we started panicking because it wasn't the second fucking wave. Don't even get started with me with the second wave. This was still the first wave. Okay, during the summer, we got up to 70, 75,000, 78,000. And Dr. Scott Gottlieb, the former CDC director, said, man, we might get to 100,000, but we didn't. We went back down. So we were all panicking 100,000. Well, we fucking flew past 100,000. We flew past 200,000. And now, we're 250, 260,000 cases a day. And like yesterday's number was like 190,000. We're like, oh, we're turning the corner. No, we're not turning the corner. It's a weekend. It's right before the holidays. Labs are shutting down. People are having time off, right? People are getting sick with coronavirus. So this number is going to surge back up, and we are going to be like 300,000 a day and be okay with it. The first time we hit 3,000 deaths, somebody said, wow, this is like a 9/11 attack every single day. And people were like, oh my God. Now we average 3,000 deaths a day. And everyone's like, it's a hoax. What the fuck's wrong with people? What's wrong with you? Does that make sense what I'm saying? We have become accustomed. It's that old story about if you put a frog in boiling water, it jumps right out. Like if we started at 300,000 cases, we'd be like, oh, hell, shut down. You know, we would be all for it. But that's not what happened. Second scenario happened. You put a frog in a pot of water, cold water, and you turn up the heat slowly, it boils to death. That's what happened to the United States. We've just gotten more and more used to these numbers. We've become numb to it, to the point for Christmas, we think, oh, I can outsmart this virus. I can be safe. I can get on a plane. I can travel. What is wrong with you? Are you fucking kidding me? Do not gather for Christmas. Do not gather the day after Christmas. Do not gather 2 days after Christmas. What I'm telling you is going to last through mid-January. We are going to peak in mid-January in number of cases. Okay, let me do this for you. Number 4. Cases will peak third week of January. I better say mid. Some people are going to be like, oh my God, he's so wrong. Peak mid. All right. So cases will peak mid-January. Y'all have to pay attention to what I'm saying here. Okay. Because there's a lag to all of this. I want to talk about the lag real quick, which will take me to the next point. Cases will peak mid-January. So we are going to get used to 300,000 cases a day mid-January. 300,000 cases a day. 1 million every third day. What's the big fucking deal? It's a hoax. They're lying. The doctors are just like lying. Like, what's the wrong? You know? Okay? That's what you're going to see. Now, here's the problem. So follow me here. 5, hospitalizations will peak about 2 to 3 weeks later. So let's call it beginning of February. Okay. Because there's always a lag of a couple of weeks as people start to be, they're asymptomatic, but they're getting sicker, and they hold off for a few days, and finally they go in, they get admitted. All right. And let me tell you about hospitalizations real quick. My last video, I talked about how the numbers are actually higher because we are turning people away. We're not admitting them. If we admit people under the same criteria as last spring, we would be totally overrun. There would be nothing. We already have people in the hallways. We already have people in stretchers for days. There's just no more room. People are dying because we are out of ventilators. I don't care what the government's telling you. That's the truth. Okay? People are dying because they're not getting the care they want. Now, the doctors and nurses and staff are doing the best they can. They're sending people home with home oxygen requirements. They're sending people home with telemedicine and monitoring. Hey, like, call me tomorrow, or I'll call you tomorrow, or nurse will call you tomorrow. And sometimes they're so sick they can't breathe. The patient can't talk. So now what happens? Their 14-year-old daughter, I have a 14-year-old daughter, is taking the phone call because the other parent is sick in the hospital, or the grandparents are sick in the hospital, and the dad or the mom is out visiting or trying to run around the town taking a fair. I mean, this is horrible, guys. This is no joke. So hospitalizations are going to peak beginning of February. But Dr. Vuong, what about the vaccines? Well, let me get to the vaccines, but really quickly, number 6, deaths, right? Peak in mid-February. Now, you guys should be used to this timeline by now. The deaths will start peaking in mid-February because when they get to the hospital, what we're finding is that they're on the vents a long time. That's why this whole thing about doctors get paid more to code diagnosis is so fucking stupid. First of all, that was agreed upon. 20% increase in billing for ICU patients. With COVID, they have to have COVID positive and pneumonia. They can't be in the hospital with just COVID. Listen to me, Uncle Billy. It's a double diagnosis. You have to have COVID and pneumonia. That way you get a higher billing. But just to bill for COVID, and people are going, oh, you get paid more if they bill for COVID. It's not fucking true. Stop it. You have to have COVID and pneumonia. Okay? All right. Because it costs more. Now what? It's a one-time flat fee. How long are they in the hospital for? They're on these vents for a week, 14 days, 20. Hey, comment real quick if you know a loved one or somebody who was on the vent for a long time. Do you know somebody who was on the vent for a long time? And you're sitting there going, wow, 20% more. Yeah, that paid for that. Does not even fucking cover it. Okay? It doesn't cover it. So just because you mark COVID does not mean you get paid more. That's a lie. Do what you're supposed to fucking do. Stay home, wear a mask, quit being an asshole. Deaths are going to peak in mid-February. Now, go back to my videos back from last March when all this shit started. Go back, right? Go back. And I'm sitting here telling you guys, if you don't do what I'm telling you, if we don't curb this, you're going to be burying your dead. Okay? And then the problem is you won't have any money to pay for it. Why? Because you will not have a job. You won't have, who remembers this? Please comment if you remember me saying this. Oh, but then I'll go do a GoFundMe page. We'll do a GoFundMe page. GoFundMe what? Who's going to pay your GoFundMe page? What the part do you don't understand? Everybody is out of work. No one has work. The stimulus, oh, Dr. Vuong, they're about to pass a stimulus package. For what? For big businesses? For big companies? You're sick. Oh, their stumbling block is $600 stimulus check to you guys. You think $600 is going to cover a funeral? I buried my dad. I cremated my dad. I can tell you how much a cremation costs. It was $3,500. When I was broke, I had no money. That was the last of my money, was to bury my dad. That's a different story for a different time. So where do people get off? They're so cavalier, all right? Let me tell you about this. Number 7 is always a doozy. But Dr. Vuong, the vaccines are around the corner. All right. Now, for the people who are frontline workers, God bless you. And I love all my friends and colleagues who they've been posting pictures of their shot. They got their first vaccine shot. Oh, by the way, the FDA approved Moderna. So Moderna, that will start rolling out tomorrow. I'll do another video on that, but it's separate. But it's still double dose. So they just got their first shot mid-December, end of December. They're going to get their second shot of Johnson & Johnson is 21 days. Moderna is 28 days, so a full month. So 3 weeks from now, so that's mid-January. It takes about a month to form enough antibodies. And I'll do a whole talk about, hey, we don't know if vaccines, you could still spread the virus even if you've been vaccinated. Did you fucking know that? We don't. You're a fearmonger, Dr. Vuong. We don't know the fucking science, dickhead. Like, we don't know. I was watching these Gordon Ramsay documentary, and he kept calling his chefs, like his cooks, like dickheads. And I was like, wow, that's an ugly word. It's like the C word. You know the C word? I can't say the C word. I know not to say the C word. I know not to say the N word. I can't say that. Those are the 2 words I can't say. So I was in there thinking the word dickhead. I was like, wow, that's a harsh word. I need to stop that word. But it was true. All right. So these vaccines won't kick in until Valentine's Day. The people who first had it, all the pictures you're seeing, all the videos you're seeing, they won't have immunity. And it's not even immunity, first of all. We don't know if it gives immunity. I'll do a video on that tomorrow because I should have done it for Moderna. But that won't kick it. The antibodies won't kick in until Valentine's Day. That's a freaking doozy right there. So you're asking these healthcare workers to work through the peak, right? Mid-January peak, mid-hospitalization, deaths in February, and they don't have immunity. But the regular public, like, what's the big deal? They have the vaccine. The regular public are dickheads. And they're like going, what's the big deal? What's the fuss? It's all good. They have the vaccine. I'm not protected. Your nurse, your sister, your mom, your cousin who's a nurse, who's a doctor, who's a pulmonologist, a respiratory tech, they don't have immunity, guys. And we don't even know if with the vaccine you still have immunity. All it measures is lack of severity of disease. That's all it measured, guys. That was what the clinical trials are for. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't get the vaccine. You should get the vaccine. You just have to understand what we tested for. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So Uncle Billy's of the world can't sit there and go, well, I got the vaccines out, so I don't have to wear a mask anymore. Really? Really? You're so fucking selfish. God bless it. All right. So the vaccines won't kick in until Valentine's Day. Now, number 8. I got a couple more, and then I got to go cook my lamb chops. Number 8. Okay. Regular folks won't get vaccines until April, May at the earliest, guys. The rest of us schlubs, we won't get vaccines until April or May at the earliest. Really, honestly, you're looking at June, July. You're already seeing reports that there aren't enough, that they can't meet the demand. Like the numbers that they reported, 100 million doses, they're like, oh, nope, 25 million doses. And now, they only rolled out 3 million doses. And only 300,000 people got it. Doses were done last week. 300,000. Like, why? You shipped 3 million. Why didn't 3 million doses get delivered? Nope. Only 300,000. It's going to be a much longer delay than you think. At best, it's going to be April, May. I'm telling y'all, it's July. I like to say July 4th just because it's fucking Independence Day, like the movie. Ha ha. We are going to conquer this virus with some Apple technology. That's what we're going to do. July, Independence Day, just like the movie. We're going to hook you up to an Apple laptop and kill this virus. Introduce a new virus to kill the virus, to give the aliens a cold. And that's how we're going to get over this pandemic. Right. So if I'm correct, then that means you're looking August, right? August for the first dose. September 2nd dose, Labor Day. You're looking at Labor Day before we get to any sort of normalcy, right? But that means we get football. Yay! For real this time, okay? But at the earliest, the early folks will be April, May. There's just not enough production. All right, let's get into what everyone's fucking talking about. Thank you for hitting share. I appreciate that. I need to test myself real quick, by the way. Number 9. All right. This is just the start. Have you guys heard the latest and greatest on this bad boy? There is now a new strain of coronavirus that was found in southern parts of England and London. They've known about it since September. Okay. This new strain of coronavirus is 70, listen to me, stop what you're doing. This new strain of coronavirus is 70% more infectious than regular coronavirus. Now, its lethality is the same. The mutation is such that it makes it more contagious, but it doesn't kill you sooner. And the symptoms are about the same, but you're spreading it faster, 70% faster. Part 2. This new strain of coronavirus in London, southeast England, has now been found in Denmark, the Netherlands, and yes, probably my favorite country, Australia. Did you guys hear that? Listen to me. This new strain of coronavirus that's found in London in September is now in Denmark, the Netherlands, and Australia. So that means just a matter of time before this new strain goes to Sweden, and then make its way to Europe. I'm telling you. It might be a reason why it looked like European Union was getting over their second wave. Yes, their second wave. We are still on the first fucking wave. This is not the third wave. This is not the fourth wave. This is still the first fucking wave for Americans. So European unions are getting over their second wave, and then suddenly they started ticking back up. And I went, what the hell? Why is it going up? Who noticed that London, that parts of England has shut down, canceled Christmas, boo-hoo? Why? This new coronavirus strain accounts for 60% of the coronavirus cases in London now. What the fuck? 60% of the cases is this new strain. All you have to do is project forward and know that this thing is going to spread. It's going to go to other countries. It's already left the island, man. It's already left the island. I don't get it. So these other countries are going, oh, we shut down all flights for 24 hours. What the fuck? We shut down all the flights leaving England to Europe for 24 hours and the train system for 24 hours. What 24 hours? What does that have to do with it? Like, I'll do another video talking about, because you have to think about it. Well, if there's a new strain, then what's going to have to happen with vaccines, etc.? What we do know is the same thing with the flu. That's why you have to have a flu shot every single year, because it mutates. Coronavirus is probably, the measles is like the same fucking, it doesn't change. So your measles shots from when you were a kid, it's the same. It protects you lifelong. Now, the other side is the flu. So many different viruses cause flu-like symptoms. Influenza A, B, it mutates a lot every year. That's why you have to have a new concoction of flu vaccine. Coronavirus will be somewhere in the middle. Every 2 to 3 years, if you're lucky. If we are lucky. Thank you for all the comments and stuff. I appreciate that. There's 1,600 of y'all watching right now. I appreciate that. From YouTube and all the different Facebook channels, there's 1,670. And it would mean a lot to me if everybody feels the same passion that I feel, and just hit the share button right now so we can get this out. I'll do another video later about the Moderna vaccine, and I'll tie it in with this new strain. I'll tie it in with what we can think about. But I promise you, we are not this. Hey, number 10. Let me end it with number 10 because I'm so chirpy. Have you heard our leaders say this? Have you heard politicians say this? Now, what have I told you guys this whole time? The politicians are sugarcoating it. They're not giving you the straight up truth. Who's heard them say this? Oh, this vaccine is the beginning of the end. We are rounding the corner. Oh my God, don't even get me fucking started. We are rounding the corner. Back in November, we have more cases than ever. We're not fucking rounding the corner. This is not the beginning of the end, y'all. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the dark fucking winter. You guys need to hunker down. We are in this until April Fools. I'm thinking April 1st. I'll call that the beginning of the end, depending on how these things go, depending on what happens with this new strain of coronavirus, depends on what happens with production of these vaccines. You're assuming that these companies actually have these vaccines produced and they can meet these demands and there won't be any problem. You assume that it's easy to refrigerate a -70-degree vaccine and that by the time they give it to you, that it's still stable. All right? You don't know. We don't know. You have to wait for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is 1-dose vaccine, and the Oxford, also known the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is known as the Oxford vaccine, which can be regular refrigeration. Moderna is normal freezer numbers, right? This is the beginning of the dark winter, not the beginning of the end, guys. They are lying to you. They have lied to us this whole time. Thank you. We hit 1,700 viewers across all the platforms. Love it. Listen to me. If they have lied to you this whole time, I'm telling you, they're lying to you now. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the cold winter. You have to stay your ass home, right? All right. I love you guys very much. As always, I like to end these. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to test myself. If you guys want to see me test myself, I will do that real quick and tell you how you can get this rapid test, 10-minute results, 95% accurate. But as always, I like to say, you know, prayers and blessings to our frontline healthcare workers, our nurses, aides, doctors, nurse practitioners, all of them, PAs, ENTs, techs, EMTs, first responders, aides, even the greeting people. They're not getting fucking bonus pay, Uncle Billy. They're not getting paid more because they show up to work, Uncle Billy. Like, stop it. That's your niece. That's your nephew you're talking about, man. Come on, quit it. Wear that fucking mask, okay? And prayers and blessings to them. This is normally the time when hospitals and staff start to slow down, so the staff can get time off to be with their friends and family, and they can't do it this year. The least you can do is think of them and not travel. Stop thinking about yourself. Stay home.